Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to make a holiday trivet. I hope you'll stay tuned. It's a Dollar Tree project, because you know I love that. I'm going to be covering these trivets. You get them in the housewares section of Dollar Tree. They have round ones and square ones, and they look like that. I think they're 8 inches. Let me measure it for you and tell you for sure. The square ones are 7 inches square, and the round one is also 7 inches across. So that gives you some indication of how big they are. We're going to be using some fabric that I bought at Joann's that looks like this. I thought it would be really nice for the holidays, but I also thought it would be great for my kitchen because my kitchen's in blacks and grays and golds. You want to make sure you get all the dog hair off of it because clearly I have white dogs. I want to make sure I don't put any of that on my project. So I have to make sure that I either clean it off or make sure that the part I have never got hair on it to begin with. I'm going to be using these scissors. I could use I have one of those round cutting blades, but it's just so much work to get everything in gear to do that. You know, you have to get a cutting surface that's safe and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, in the end, I'll probably end up cutting myself, so we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to lay my trivet onto the material. I want to make sure that I have enough material all the way around to cover it, because if you have a little bit of frayed edge, like right here it's frayed, I don't want to end up having not enough material because I've got a little fray action there. So I'm just going to take my scissors and do a little snip if I can. Okay. I'm just going to cut a really bad job, but I'm going to cut it all the way. I fold it in half and then cut it the rest of the way so that I can get a whole strip like that. I haven't got all the way to a half, so I may have to play with it a little bit. I'll probably have to use the hair remover again because, as in all things, everything in my house is covered with hairs. That's what you get when you have 3 big girls. Those dogs are the greatest thing that ever happened to me, but they're also a lot of work. All of you who have pets know what I'm talking about. I'm going on a crazy angle, I think. Then, to coat it, I'm going to use Mod Podge that's dishwasher safe. You can use regular Mod Podge, but if you do, you run the risk of having it come back off if you do run it through your dishwasher. And I'm probably not going to put this through my dishwasher, but just to be safe, I'm going to make sure I have the right Mod Podge. Now, your trivets come with these little rubber pieces on the bottom, and I'm just going to gently, hopefully, pry them off with a pair of scissors. Now, if they come off and you lose one, or you accidentally cut one in half, or you just have some kind of problem with them, they sell these in at Walmart. All right, I think I'm going to use an X-acto knife. Yes, it is a scary, scary tool. Okay, you're just going to carefully pry these off. They're just glued on, so it's not really problematic to take them off. You just have to get the right angle. And I'm going to attach mine to my light so that when I'm done with this, I know exactly where all of them are. Because you know, that's the thing I always have happen is I lose them. This time I'm not going to. I usually end up with 3 of them and wonder where the 4th one went. Not going to happen this time, fellas. You're sticking with me. Well, you're not sticking with me, you're sticking with my light. I'm not going to lose you though. I'm only going to work on one while we're all together, because once you've seen me do one, I'm sure you've got the handle on how to do it. Before you do anything like this, I recommend that you clean your surface with alcohol. it will take all the fingerprints and smudges off, and it just makes sure that this side, it's the bottom, it's the part that had the sticky things on it from those feet, so you need to take those off too, and the alcohol should remove those as well, the sticky stuff from the feet. So I'm just gonna work on the feet area first. And you should be able to see the reflection, well, you might not be able to, but I can see the reflection of the area where those little feet were, and I can see when there's still some sticky things left. You want to take all that off. If you can't get that off, you can use a knife to scrape it off, or you could use Gooby Gone or Goo Gone. I think it's called Goo Gone, but it might be called Gooby Gone and a different brand. Using one of my trusty little bibs. And if you've been with my channel for any length of time, you know my bib story. I buy bibs at Salvation Army or at garage sales, anywhere where I can get them inexpensively. Used bibs. I don't care if they're stained, but because I'm just using them as the thing that I clean up my messes with. So what I do is I attach them to the arms of my craft chair, and that way when I need something to wipe a mess up with in a hurry, they're velcroed or snapped right on it and easy to get to. So I just thought I'd tell you that, because if you know anybody who has a baby that's growing out of the bib stage, you'd use them in place of baby wipes, and that way you'd make sure that you never have to worry about what it's doing to the environment, because you're just going to wash these again. Then it's still kind of smudgy, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. But if it is, this is my other necessity. It's water with about a teaspoon of baby shampoo in the bottom. I shake it up and I clean my stamps with it. I clean my surfaces with it. It's not toxic. I don't have to worry about the dogs with it. It's a handy, handy thing. I've given you all my craft room secrets right there in a nutshell. Okay, this is the surface I'm going to use to work on. I want to make sure that there's no hairs on this, and that there's no hairs on my material. There's one side of these that's got a pattern on it. It's kind of, it almost looks like fur. Can you see that? That's not the side you want to put your material on. You want to put your material on the side that has nothing on it. And when you do that, what you're going to do, then, again, Mod Podge for dishwasher. And I do it this way. A lot of people do it a different way, so I'm just going to show you how I do it. Don't worry that I just got a big gob on there. I like to cover my glass. You want to have a little bit more at the edges, because that's where you really need it to stick down. And sometimes it doesn't want to attach there very easily. So I like to put a little bit more Mod Podge there than everywhere else. And I'm just going to kind of slop it on first, and then I'll go back over it and put another, I'll put more marks on it, like more brush marks. Then you're just going to put it face down onto your surface. And I like to use something, in this case I might use a ruler. You can use a debit card, you know, an old credit card, an old gift card, something like that, just to make sure this is really well adhered to your glass. And if you have any still left on your ruler, you want to wipe that back off. Then we're going to flip it over. Now, if you have a pattern that has some kind of direction, or that you want to make sure that the pattern is in a is facing a certain way, or that looks a certain way, or is in a certain placement on your glass, go ahead now and play with it so it's where you want it, because this is your last opportunity to really play with your material. And I'm looking at mine to make sure that my glass has material under it in every corner, every edge. Everything is really well maintained with it. Not maintained, well covered. We have no problem with missing out on material where we need it. I have a dog hair in that. Okay, got it. Then you're going to cover the back. That's why we have the piece underneath it, the plastic piece, so that we can make sure that we only get it on that and not on every surface around it. This doesn't have to be really super neat, but I am anal about it, and this I do try to make neat just because I think that when you're done, sometimes you can still see the lines, so I want to make sure my lines are all pretty even. If, once it's dry, if you notice that you don't have an edge that's glued down well, you can just go back over it, add a little bit more Mod Podge to the edge underneath. Here's what I mean. If it pulls up, let's put it like this. If it pulls up, let's say on this corner, like it doesn't glue down, what you can do is you can make sure that you glue it down after by just picking it back up. What you're going to do is this. Let's say it's dried. You know, my anal thing is coming out here. I got to fix all this. Sorry. Okay, let's say that this corner doesn't adhere. All you would do is you'd pick it up. Like right now, it's still not really stuck down. So what you're going to do is you're going to add a little bit more or a lot more Mod Podge onto that edge. And then go back over it. Make sure it's well glued down like that. Now sometimes it'll look milky for a couple days. That's just because you put in a lot of Mod Podge and it takes a long time for it to dry. So if it's milky at first, don't fret about it. It's still wet. You could use your hot glue gun, or your, not hot glue gun, your heat tool, but I don't recommend that because I think it makes the Mod Podge less, I think it messes with the consistency of your Mod Podge. So just be aware of that, and I wouldn't recommend you doing it. I wouldn't use a hairdryer either. I think the only thing that works for something like that is time. I think you'll be happy if you just give yourself a break and don't do anything with it until a few days. I would say 3 days. In 3 days, it definitely, if you had it, let's say you put a lot of Mod Podge on it and it was really milky, it should, in 3 days, it should be dry and you shouldn't see that anymore. I'm just going back over these so that I get my lines so they don't look so wonky. Ooh! See, now that shouldn't have pulled up that easily, so I'm going to add a little bit more Mod Podge to it. Hopefully. Those edges, as I said, can be problematic. They can fight you. So I'm going to let this dry and we'll come back. So it's been a couple days since I coated this and let it dry. You can see that it's really nice now. There's no milky areas, and you want to make sure that that's the case. Don't put another layer of glue on until your first milky layer dries, because then it might be harder for the first layer to dry when the second layer is on top of it. And so now I'm going to just get another layer of Mod Podge. The problem I had was that I ran out of my Mod Podge for dishwasher safe, and I tried one of these without dishwasher safe, and I have to be honest, it is really, really a lot, what's the word, runnier. So if you want to try it, I am going to hopefully be able to show you what it turns out like. But if I don't think it's going to dry or look decent, I'll probably go to dishwasher safe. But I want to show you what it looks like now, because I did make one without dishwasher safe just so we could see what it's like. I did this one with the regular Mod Podge and it looks fine. It's well adhered. It took it a long time to dry because it was so runny, but it did so far it looks fine. Now I won't be able to use this in the dishwasher. I don't know if I could once I add another coat of the dishwasher Mod Podge. I don't know if that'll, if that will make a difference or not. But here's what you want to do. You want to trim your edges. You want to tilt your scissors under. Here's the hard part, is cutting this. Oh, it's pulling away. That's unusual. Well, it's not unusual. It's not something I expected. But then again, I'm using regular Mod Podge in this one, and I did it on purpose to see if it would work. If the Mod Podge would hold the material. Okay. When I cut the other one, it doesn't pull away, but this one, it's starting to pull away from the plate. So that's not a good sign. I'll probably just use the dishwasher safe Mod Podge on this one to see if I can fix it, because it doesn't seem to want to stay adhered with the plain Mod Podge. I've had people tell me in the past that their plates, like I've done cookie plates before, and they've told me that theirs, after it dried, it still was milky. And I've never had that happen where it was milky after it dried. And you can see right there that this one is milky, and it's not like it's not well adhered, and it's not I don't know. I don't know why I did that. And can you see that? Hopefully you can, that this is milky right here. I don't know why that would happen, because I used the exact same brush. I used the exact same Mod Podge. I didn't do a good job of trimming it. You want to make sure when you do this, you angle your scissors, if you can, under your plate a little bit, so that you can get, I don't know if you can see that because I'm kind of far away. You want to, let me see the spot where I didn't do a good job, right in here. You want to make sure that you angle your scissors so that they're, I got a Mod Podge ball right there apparently, so that they're angled enough under that you can get your, you can cut it so that you won't see any of your material on the plate. You'll only see it up to the plate, or under the plate, but you won't see it on the sides of the plate. I'm trying to make this make sense, but sometimes my explanation isn't the greatest. So I'm trying to make sure that it's all well trimmed. I'll keep trimming it later, but if you can't do a good job of trimming it, you could use a nail file and try and file it off underneath so that it looks better. And then this one, I think the one that was done with regular Mod Podge, I'm going to try and do that with the dishwasher safe and see if that makes a difference as far as redeeming the, the boo-boo, since it didn't want to play with me. And all I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to put another coat of it on. At this point, you want your coats to be, oh boy, I got glitter on everything. I worked with glitter today, so, everything I own's got glitter on it, including my hands. And so I'm trying to get it off if I can. I don't really want my trivets to have glitter all over them. So basically all you're going to do is go over this neatly, because you want your back to look, the glue pattern to be in a pattern. You don't want it to be splotchy and weird. Like you could do this, but if you did that, then that's what it's going to look like dry. It's going to have those weird pounces on them. So you want to make sure that when you do this, that you're taking care to make sure that your finished product looks better. I was at a craft, a place they sell crafts. It wasn't a craft show, but it was a place they sell crafts, and somebody was selling plates, cookie plates that they'd done this to, and I was really happy to see that somebody else is doing that. It's fun. I'll link that video the Dollar Tree cookie plates that I made. They were Christmassy. Did them last year, maybe the year before, maybe both. I just saw a really great recipe for fudge. I'm just telling you this because I'm having a moment. I'm sure some of you who love fudge will want to know how to make the easiest fudge in the world, and I couldn't believe this. I watched it and I thought, that's impossible. So of course I had to do it. Here's what you do. You take a small jar of peanut butter. Small jar, like, you know, the, I don't know, 16 ounces, whatever that small jar is of peanut butter. You microwave it so that it's like pourable. And then you get a jar of frosting mix, and that would be vanilla frosting. And you melt it in the microwave. You melted both things in the microwave. And then you pour them into whatever container you want to use for your fudge. And that is it. Tell me that's not the easiest recipe. So I didn't know if it would be good or not, so I tried it, and it tasted just like regular peanut butter fudge. I couldn't believe it. Now, Rich and I aren't big fudge fans, but, you know, I had to do it just to see if it would work. And it did. So, gotta be honest with you. Love that. Love it when plan comes together. So that one, with this coat, this will be the last coat on that one. That was the one I did in the dishwasher Mod Podge. So that'll be all I'm going to do to that one. This one is the one that I did with regular Mod Podge, and the edges, you can, well, you probably can't see right here, but you can see some of the edges are coming off or up. So I need to put Mod Podge under this, you know, under this layer of material, and try to salvage this if I can. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try to. It's $1 invested, but still, you know, it's frustrating when you try something like that and it doesn't work, because you'd think it would work, but it didn't. Well, I don't think it did. So that's word to the wise. Don't try it. You've seen me screw it up, so don't do it yourself. I really didn't know if it would work, and I thought the only thing that was different about regular Mod Podge was that it was thinner. But now that I've seen that it's thinner and it doesn't do a great job of adhering, therein lies the problem. You want to make sure that you really get those edges that pulled up. And I'm going to add a lot more Mod Podge to this layer than I did to the other one, because this one really needs a lot on it because of the edges being iffy. I'm glad I did it though, because now all of you know if it's going to work or not. And I don't think I would try that again, because like I said, it's pulling up from the edges, and I put a lot of Mod Podge on there. I was amazed at how runny it was compared to this. At this point, I've used my scissors and done a really good job, I think, of going around all the edges and taking off any excess, and all three of them are done. You can see that. Now, I have this glue. It's an older glue. It's called Yoo-Hoo, I think, Creative, and it says it's good for metal, glass, and jewelry. So we're going to go with the idea of glass, and we're going to stick our little feet back on. I made sure I put my feet in a very safe place, because I have a tendency to lose things like that. And if you're like me, you really want to make sure you put those somewhere that you're not going to lose them, because it's so easy to lose them. So I'll start with, I don't know if you can see that. I'll make sure I'm in the screen. I'm just going to put, we'll call it a dollop on the bottom. Whoop! And make sure it doesn't stick just to my finger, because let's face it, that was where it was going to go. I've had this project going for a very long time, because at one point I completely forgot about it. And then when I found it again, because you know my craft room is a nightmare, when I found it again, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to get that done. And then again, forgot about it. And now we're going to finish it up. You don't have to have a lot of this glue. You just want to make sure you have enough of it that the little rubber piece is going to adhere. I attached these rubber things to my light, which wasn't the smartest move in the world, but let's face it, if it was one thing I wasn't going to lose, it was my light, right? So let me finish these and I'll come back once they're all done and set up. So here they are, completely finished. This one looks like this, and its feet, you can see back there. This one looks like this. I have, on this one, I have this, I don't know if it's glue underneath or glue on top. I've tried to get it off, but it looks, I don't know if you can see that little spot there. It looks like a fingerprint. And then, of course, underneath. And then this one. This one I'm the most disappointed in. I don't know if you can see this whole edge is very faded. And it's not faded on the back. I have no idea why it did that. I'm going to say I think the material I used was too thick. And that was the problem, because I've done this in the past and I've never had this problem. Oop, one of my little feet came off. That's unfortunate. Didn't put enough glue on that one. Must be on the very bottom one. Yep. That's weird. The glue's still wet. A couple days later. I mean, this isn't like I did this last night. I did it 2 days ago. That's odd. Anyhow, let me put that on there. Maybe I didn't have weight on this one. Maybe it was the one that was the least weighted, because I did put these other two on top of them. So I'm going to do that again. And then hopefully when it dries this time, the glue will set up on there and it won't, the feet won't move, because these other ones, the feet don't move. So anyway, I hope you learned something from this. I've done this before with plates. Never had any issue with the discoloration. But if you'll remember, I did use regular Mod Podge on one of these, but it wasn't this round one. So I don't know why the round one is the one that came out the oddest. See that? I don't know. Can you see that right there? It's very faded, and on this side too. But underneath, it looks perfect. It's not like I did anything wrong. I don't know. I do think that the material was just too thick. I used a thinner material the last time I did it. It was more of, well, I'll link that video so that you can see exactly what I used as far as material, and I didn't have any problems. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.